What's up, fight fans, and welcome back to the Vegas Odds recap show for UFC Vegas 58. I'm your host, the fight analyst Garrett Kerman. With me, as always, is Joe Danger himself, Jesse Hobson. What's up, man? How's it going?
Hey, yeah, lackluster fight card, but we do what we do. We make the best of it. We shovel the bottom of the ocean, and hopefully sometimes we pull up some treasure. This time we did a little bit of both, but it's better a little bit of treasure than just a shovel of shit. So we move on to next week, but we're still here, we're still happy, and we're still making money the best way we can.
Absolutely. We profited a little bit. It was ups and downs, made some great calls, made some bad calls. It was mixed emotions at UFC Vegas 58. The fights, like you said, very lackluster. It wasn't a ton of excitement throughout. The main event did deliver. It was a great fight between Rafael dos Anjos and Rafael Fiziev. I was expecting a banger of a fight. They came in, they threw down. And what was your thoughts on the stoppage there in round 5?
It was super early, man. It was super, super early. Like, I mean, I can see the refs like mindset, but ultimately it just seems so early. And like I was watching with a group of people, obviously I was still on vacation, and everyone in the house said, dude, that was like way early. And that's not even coming from someone that has money on RDA. That's outsiders, that's people that watch this, when McGregor's the main event, and they're just like, that was horrible. And yeah, I couldn't not agree with them.
Did you see the slow motion replay afterwards?
I
Because
did. I did.
he looked like his head was snapped back and he was kind of just like out of it from just that one punch. So, in a sense, I understand the stoppage. I don't think RDA was going to be able to do much after that. I think he was pretty much done at that point, regardless if they stopped it or not. I think Fiziev was going to finish him shortly thereafter. Better to save him from further damage than for him to keep fighting on and just get cumulative damage for no reason in a fight that he was probably going to get finished just like 30 seconds later. That's just my sense.
Yeah.
But I can understand both sides of the spectrum here.
Well, also too, we saw the scorecards after the fact. RDA was losing, like, and he was also losing that round. So let's say he does recover, he would have to pull something crazy out of his ass just to even get, you know, like he would have to basically finish the fight in order to
Yeah.
win anything. And it just didn't seem, like a lot of answers, a lot of questions were answered with this fight. We kind of got to see Fiziev, go all 5 rounds. This is not the same Fiziev that we saw when he fought Green. Ultimately, I just left impressed, with not only with his gas tank, but just kind of with his ability to control the fight.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was an eye-opening performance for Fiziev. I think he's shown that he is a title contender, and he's someone to be not to mess with. Especially he's calling out Justin Gaethje from what I've seen.
Yeah.
That'd be a banger of a fight. I think that would be 5 rounds of pure violence. Something that I think we all need to see. Put that on a fight night headline. I'm all for that, big time.
Yeah, I think that's a good call out too, because it's a marketable fight for both guys. Yeah, and I could obviously it would be a main event. Gagey doesn't do anything but main events at this point. Now that he doesn't, there's no way. I mean, he doesn't get the belt, so might as well just continue to get the bonuses, continue to put on good shows, and continue to be a name in the sport. So I think it was a good call out. Ultimately, it puts more eyes on Fiziev, win or lose, which is I think the game plan there.
Right, and it's a fight where he doesn't have to defend takedowns. It's just a straight up 25 minutes of back and forth, battling it out. And that would be a great fight, especially for Fiziev.
Yeah.
All right, in the co-main event, we had a fight between Caio Borralho and Armin Petrosian. Borralho went in there, did exactly what I expected him to do. Did he not?
Yeah, I expected a little bit more of him, honestly. It was pretty, I mean, it was a good fight. Like he showcased, his skills, his toolbox, but he didn't get the finish. He was kind of slow, like the pacing was a little bit slower than usual for him. But I think at this point he's already showcased, his abilities, and perhaps he was trying to just secure the win so that he can continue to secure these co-main event spots. You know, he's a special fighter, and I think he just did what he needed to do to get the victory ultimately.
Yeah, it wasn't the best performance. He did tend to slow down a little bit as the fight went on, but he showed he has good chin. He could take a punch. He's shown his grappling is levels above a lot of these guys at 185 pounds. And he went in there and did exactly what I expected him to do: take him down and absolutely control him. And mind you, I said the moment he takes his back, that's the end of the round. He's not getting off his back. And then that's what he did. He rode his back for pretty much 15 minutes.
Yep.
And I expected that. I expected a finish. I mean, it was close. It was close on numerous attempts, but ultimately he couldn't get it done. It is what it is. Live to fight another day, and he's still impressive. I think he's on an 8-fight win streak or something along the lines of that. Hopefully, we get another co-main event spot, someone in the top 15. I forgot who he called out, though. I mean, I think it was a good fight. I forgot who he called out, but.
Yeah, I don't remember either. I could easily see this being the co-main event for the fight we just mentioned, like the Gagey and Fiziev. This would make perfect sense for him to get a top 15 guy co-main event. Both him and Fiziev are in the same conversation. It would be kind of cool. To keep them. I mean, they have literally nothing in common, but
I know who he called out. Dricus du Plessis. That's who he called out.
That's a good fight.
That's a fantastic fight.
Yeah, because
that is a great fight. Like, I would be extremely, extremely happy to watch that fight play out.
It's interesting too that he made that call out rather than the matchmakers coming up with that, because I feel like that's something that they would put together, on the matchmaking board and be like, yeah, this is the one. And guys like us, me, you, and actual like fans that watch us every week, that's a fight that makes our mouth water. So
absolutely. Like, I want that fight now. Like, I'm just here like talking about it, I want that fight. That fight would be bananas. And they're both great grapplers and they're both great strikers. So it'd be interesting to see who wins that fight. I don't even know where I'd lean initially until I see the line.
Yeah.
That's how I feel like it's a 50-50 fight.
Yeah, and oddly enough, I probably want to play that one live, regardless of what the line is, just to see who does what in the first round. du Plessis, like, he gets kind of handled, but initially, and then he kind of gauges his opponent and reacts and responds. I mean, I would assume he'd probably be the underdog, in that fight.
I think Bahia would be the underdog in that fight.
See, it's interesting. I'd like to see the line. So, I mean, let's put a pin in it, and then once that does get announced, I'd be happy to chitter chat with you about that one.
I'm definitely looking forward to it. Hopefully they make it. We'll see what happens. Because du Plessis, I believe, is now in the top 15, and I'm not sure if they're gonna, if he's gonna want to take somebody that's outside the top 15 or work his way up. But we'll see what happens with that. And our featured bout on the main card was a fight in the bantamweight division between Said Nurmagomedov and Douglas Silva de Andrade. Nurmagomedov looked good, okay. I expected a little bit more out of him, but he did what he did to get the job done. A ton of those spinning attacks got him in trouble, and that's why sometimes I really don't like, betting on him. Because the same thing happened with him when he fought Hani Barcelos. Barcelos would catch one of those spinning attacks, drag him to the mat, and then he's caught in like half guard and just laying there for, extended periods of time. Kind of what happened in the with Douglas Silva de Andrade. He was able to catch a couple of that and get some control time. But other than that, I felt he was kind of solid. What would you take away?
Yeah, it's difficult to bet on this guy. Just because of things like that. He also seems like he's like too calm. So like, I didn't think that Andrade would be the one to beat him, just because, like, I don't know. It seems like Said has the right tools to kind of avoid that loss. But once he gets into that topper tier echelon of fighters, that's really going to hurt him ultimately. He has to, pick up the pace a little bit, quit doing the spinning attacks. You're putting yourself in danger. And also too, I do check the comments. Someone gave me a bunch of shit for not recognizing, Said, but also, I mean, I know who he is. I mean, there was a smiley face following it, but at the same time, I just assumed he would get the sub, like, not because he is, a Nurmagomedov. Like, I just assumed he would beat him up and then get him via sub. But because of his type of the way he fights, it's so lackluster, so 3 punches back, like, and then like reset. It just kind of, it's going to hurt him eventually. And it's like a more chill version of Zabit, I guess you could say. And I think
he trains with those Russians over there, and
Yeah.
with Mark Henry, I believe, and Ricardo Almeida, BJJ. I mean, he has what's his name in his corner? Zabit's training partner. That guy. I forget names all the time, but he actually just fought Jack Shore, got relieved, Timur Valiev.
Yeah, and oddly enough, I was doing a little research on Mr. Shore today, and I mean that's a thing we'll talk about tomorrow. So tune into that. But yeah, I don't know. Something about him is just very lackluster, and I think it's going to hurt him the higher he gets up into the rankings. I don't think he's going to get a belt. I think the only time he would probably ever actually fight for a belt is if it's like a last second replacement type thing. But who knows? Who knows?
We will see.
Either way, he'll get a sub. I assure you, he'll get a sub.
Sooner or later, he will get that sub. All right. In the heavyweight division, we have a fight between Chase Sherman and Jared Vanderaa. Slobber knocker. That was like a just straight up brawl, like backyard brawling at its finest between these two. Rock and sock and robots. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah, I really hope Jared doesn't get released.
Yeah, I know, me too.
The issue I had with this fight was obviously, I was rooting for Jared, and when he fought Oleski, he tried to take him to the ground. When he fought Chase Sherman, he tried to stand with Chase Sherman. What are you doing? Like, I really thought maybe he could handle him on stand up, but Sherman started putting it together. He started getting way too comfortable, and Jared was not mixing it up like he should have. And obviously, we all saw the outcome. Round 3 TKO, and it was pretty brutal.
Yeah, it was. That was Chase Sherman that we've seen in the past. He has some crisp punches, some good power. He's kind of light on his feet, pretty fast with his hands. And he just put it on Jared. And unfortunately, he took another L because his fight IQ is not entirely there. So I'm hoping he learns from this, grows from this, and gets better. And hopefully he gets another shot. If not, maybe work on the regional scene a little bit and get back in there because, he is a crowd favorite.
He's just a nice guy. And he does come to fight, which I mean, as a viewer, I do appreciate. So, and then kind of leading to our next fight, here's a fight that doesn't come to fight.
Man, with this fight, so this is a fight that was in the bantamweight division between Ayman Zahabi and Ricky Tercios, and what a shit show this was. Everybody has such high expectations for Ricky Tercios. He looked good he looked okay on the Contender Series, didn't get the win. Then he goes on Tough, looks phenomenal, and then comes in here and does nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I forget which fighter it was, but they who I think it might have been Cub Swanson. I think he took the stats of this fight and circled, how many attempts versus how many, and the percentage was.
He landed like 16%, I think, or 17%. How do you do that?
It's the Caitlin Chukagian bullshit.
Yes, he is the Caitlin Chukagian of the men's bantamweight division.
Yeah, and I was comparing him to Tony Ferguson, man. Like, I have to revoke that. Like, that is ridiculous, man. And I bet him live after round 1 because I was hoping that he would put it together. And yeah, man, I was beyond disappointed. I thought that this should have been a pick'em fight. And I mean, was I mistaken?
Nope. I'm as it looked like Zahabi should have been the favorite at that point.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And yeah, I just, where do you go from here? Like, Zahabi looked decent, but I mean, honestly, anyone would look good against Ricky in that fight. And I went back and watched the the Ultimate Fighter finale with him, and this was just a completely different fighter. Like, yeah. I was bewildered. Like freaking Bruce Lee is rolling in his grave, to this thing. This was where was the game plan? And I know he has a good team behind him, so like that couldn't have been them. Like that had to have been an internal decision. So.
I don't understand it. Though all of it together was just bad, and now you have to take a grain of salt when you're thinking about ever betting on Ricky Tercios, because now you always have that question mark: is he actually going to fight?
Yeah, this is worse than like those guys that just like lay down, in the middle of the fight. This was far worse because at least at least they're mocking the other guy. He was serious. Like it was so crazy. And also too, I'm very bitter because this particular fight was like the fight that kept me from having like a perfect DraftKings. I still won money, but imagine if he would have won the fight. I would have probably been first or second place, but even with this loss, I was still in the top 15. So, I can't complain too much, but it's still like, I would love to pick his brain. Like that's such a weird game plan.
I know. And speaking about DraftKings, the fight that fucked me over the most was our next fight in the lightweight division between Jamie Mullarkey and Michael Johnson, in a fight where most people believe Michael Johnson won, me including. I thought he won the fight. He almost finished in the first round. He was the second cheapest option on the DK slate, and I should have cashed there. And I should have walked away with a lot more money because he was my only L on the entire DraftKings slate. I mean, we're talking, I've got Cody Brundage, I got Saeed Yakub Kakramanov on that DraftKings lineup, along with Saeed Nurmagomedov, Caio Bahayo, and I think that was it. Yeah, that's the entire lineup, along with Michael Johnson. And then that shit happened.
Yeah, I texted you after this fight. I know you turn your phone off or put it on silent, but I still had to give you props, man, because all those guys talking value on MMA Twitter, hashtag MMA Twitter, like that. If there was a value play on this card, it's Michael Johnson, because not only did he win that fight, he looked damn good doing it.
He did.
And Mullarkey, he had his moments. He looked good too. Like it was a fantastic fight, but do I think he won the fight? No, I don't. And that's not me saying that because I also had money on Michael Johnson. It was just a great performance all around. And, I just couldn't believe it, so I had to text you.
I just couldn't fathom them giving Mullarkey round one off of just rocking Johnson for a few seconds, where he didn't drop him. He rocked him, and then he shot in for a double leg, and then that was it. That was the end of the round. While Mullarkey got knocked down and almost finished. But how do you do that? How do you take that over that? I don't get it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I honestly, I don't know, but
yeah,
we're in agreement, but it's just like, I just can't believe it.
As far as the prelims, let's take a look at some of the fights that kind of stood out. Cody Brundage, great performance there, knocking out Trajan Gore. Very happy with that. Not only because we cashed, but I'm not a biggest fan of Gore. I think he's small for the division. He probably should be fighting at 170. Brundage, he got some takedowns. He was a little tired, but he still got that power and just laid it on him after, a naked leg kick. Like he was doing the entire fight. Great fight, great win there, and it's now 2-0 his last two fights.
Yeah, see, I thought I was on an island not liking Gore, but apparently, it's once I posted my tweet about how Gore needs his eyes are punched, separated a little bit further. I mean, he looks like the black Darren Till / Ninja Turtle. Like it's odd. The dude is just a complete asshole. He voluntarily talked shit for no reason to Cody Brundage. I mean, sure, they're getting in a fight, whatever. But Cody even went on record to say, like, yeah, I have no idea what this guy's problem is. He's just upset. And I think in our initial breakdown, I said something, yeah, they're all working. This is all a job for them. You having a family doesn't make this more or less important for the other guy. He has a family too. But for some reason, Gore just thinks he can treat people like shit, talk shit, and not back it up. because he thinks he deserves it. I don't know. It's odd to me. It just rubs me the wrong way. So I was really happy about that. Moving on, I told you that the Courtney Casey fight was going to be close, and it was. This was also a really good fight too. Like, it was super competitive. Obviously, we got the split decision. Courtney Casey is, if she doesn't win unanimous, she doesn't win. And me particularly, I didn't bet this fight, but I did score it for Casey. What did you think of this particular fight?
If I'm going to be completely honest, it's a fight where I saw about 2 rounds of and didn't watch the 3rd round, but I heard it was very close to the point where either one could have fought and won. I saw some highlights for that last round, though. I thought, I thought it was pretty close.
They took highlights. It was like 5 minutes turned into like 10 seconds. It's
pretty much. There wasn't much going on.
It's just the bell starting and the bell ending. That's the highlight.
I was like, I wasn't too keen on it. I was just hoping it goes the distance, and sure shit, it did. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it could have gone either way. I mean, I can't say it was a robbery. The only robbery on this card was Michael Johnson. But it was a close fight. It could have gone either way. I wouldn't be entirely upset that Courtney Casey won a split, but then again, she never wins a split decision. So.
Exactly.
They just don't. 2 judges don't like Courtney Casey. Every time she fights.
Could be worse. Could be 3.
David Onama came back with a big win over Garrett Armfield, who fought his ass off for taking a fight on 3 days' notice. Up a weight class against a killer of an opponent. And Onama couldn't even get him out of there on the feet. He had to take him down and submit him via arm triangle, which was impressive on both sides. Onama showing his offensive submission game that we haven't seen. And Garrett Armfield is showing that he's got a chin on him, and he can go toe-to-toe with some of these guys, even guys at 145 pounds. All in all, it was a great fight in the first round, and then Onama just kind of took over round 2.
Yeah, I actually was super impressed with Garrett. Not you, the fighter.
Oh,
and Onama, not so much. Like, he went from being like a -1,000 to -200, in one round. Had he not pulled through, it would have been a really quiet bus ride home for Team Krause, because they don't fly, they ride the bus, RIP Tony Kelly. But and he showed up. Like, he changed, game plan changed, and Onama should have stuck with that from the beginning, but definitely made it more interesting. But yeah, good fight, cashed on it, move on.
That's all that matters. Kennedy Nzechukwu and Carl Roberson, Roberson looked like shit, like I kind of expected him to. And Nzechukwu just dominated in that fight. I mean, Roberson does what Roberson does. Fight IQ as like a tiny mouse. It was terrible.
Kennedy Nurmagomedov,
right? Fucking shooting double legs, getting back mount, just fucking up Roberson all over the place.
Yeah, I never thought I would see the day, and like we said it initially, like I called this one 2 weeks out. Like, I'm gonna have to pat myself on the back. The next fight's all you, but this is all me. I just knew Kennedy has evolved so much. I'm really excited to see where he goes from here. Carl, it's probably custodian Carl after this week. I used to really dig him too. He needs to change his nickname to No Heart, because it just seemed like he was giving up every. I mean, Don't get me wrong, he tried, but it just
but just not that much.
Yeah, it was like minimal effort. It was exactly what I expected. I can't believe he opened up as the favorite. It's just
right.
Blows my mind.
And then it only settled as a pick 'em too.
Yeah.
Closing out this recap, which started the fight card, was Sayujo Cobb.
It's like a freaking Italian like vegetable or something.
Saeed Yukub? Okay. Kakramanov. Okay, Kakramanov. Yeah. I can say Kakramanov. I got that.
Emphasis on the cock, yeah.
Yeah, emphasis on the cock. Taking on Ronnie Lawrence. I thought it was a pretty good fight. even though Kakramanov did exactly what I expected him to do. Finally, the fade Ronnie Lawrence train pulled through for me because every other fight, he screwed me over because I faded him in his first 3 fights in the UFC. So finally, the 4th time is the charm, and he pulled through.
The odds were in your favor in that case.
Yeah, for that time. But what'd you think of this matchup?
I was surprised, man. I expected Ronnie to be able to kind of hold his own a little bit. I had mentioned maybe putting some money on the draw. Thank God I didn't. This blew my mind, and I was really impressed with this kid. I love the call out. I forget who he called out, but I remember liking it a lot. Who did I say?
I forgot.
I even messaged you.
You did, and I forgot. But
it was a good one.
Oh, Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah, Cody Garbrandt. And I was like, damn, that's actually a really good call out because do I think he'll get that fight? Probably not right away, but I think maybe he gets one more win. Very, very possible. And I think Cody's dumb enough to take that fight.
well, at this point, he's got nothing else better. He needs to get that paycheck, so he's got to fight somebody. But this kid is a real deal. We now see he's got grappling, like wrestling, like legit wrestling. Like he was throwing Ronnie around like a rag doll
from beginning to end.
Yeah, I mean, he was throwing this man around like it was nothing, nobody's business, and no one really saw that coming because of how well Ronnie Lawrence has been wrestling everybody. And then he's got power in the feet, and he's got slick, chokes when people try to shoot in on him. He can snatch your neck. So this was a threat at 135 pounds, and I think he's going to be a top 10 fighter fairly soon, probably within the next year or so.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this fight, and I was kind of looking to see where it started going wrong, and it was about where you said that you checked out Courtney Casey. After that, it kind of started going downhill. After that, it was nice to see Gore get knocked out, but then, I mean, even the main card, it really just didn't deliver like we thought it would. The Michael Johnson fight was amazing, but outside of that, I mean, everything you can just watch, the previews or trailers or whatever. But ultimately not my favorite card. A couple really fun ones in the beginning, cool one at the end. But I mean, I'd rather just watch porn, honestly.
Yeah, that's not a bad alternative, might I add. But yeah, that's what you got for you guys for this week's recap show here at Vegas Odds for UFC Vegas 58. We'll be back next week to recap UFC Long Island, UFC on ABC 3. That's a banger of a fight card. I'm looking forward to it big time. We need you guys to go like and subscribe to the Vegas Odds YouTube channel for more on the best in sports betting, as well as our recap show and more betting stuff on MMA. So we will see you guys next week. We are at it.